Okay students, so we are here with a very important thing students today, that is top 5 important questions that are going to be framed on the life process. Students, these all important questions that I am today sharing with you, these questions have like a very great probability that they are going to be asked in the examinations, right? I am taking the question a 5-mark question format. It means there will be many questions can be made, 1 mark, 2 mark, but whole of these topics are important on which I am taking the question, right? And students, every year on these topic it is for sure clear that questions are coming. So this year will definitely will come in sample paper 24-25 also questions are there on these topics, right? So let's start student with the very first question. What is photosynthesis? Explain in detail, students. So photosynthesis, students, we are discussing this particular process from very junior classes, right? Starting from the class 6th. What happens in this process? Plants convert, okay, light energy into chemical energy, and that chemical energy, students, is nothing but it is the food in the form of glucose that plants are making. And during this process, students, oxygen is released in the form of gas in the surrounding. Students, if you see the chemical reaction, we are having carbon dioxide 6 molecules combining with your 6 molecules of water. Carbon dioxide is coming from the air, water is coming from the soil. These are the two raw materials, okay? Then your chlorophyll will absorb the sunlight, and after that glucose will be formed, right? In its bonds only the energy is stored. And students, oxygen is released as a byproduct, right? After that, students, one more important thing, mechanism of photosynthesis, that is also important. On this thing also questions are going to be framed. So the mechanism of photosynthesis, students, comprise of only two things. First is your light reaction. In light reaction, students, photolysis of water takes place, in which water will be lysed. It means it will be broken down into your H plus ions, electrons and oxygen, right? After that, students, next thing that happens in light reaction is the formation of ATP and NADPH. That are going to be your energy rich molecules. Then students, in dark reaction these energy rich molecules will be going and they will be then reducing the carbon dioxide, okay, and carbon dioxide will be converted into your C6H12O6, that is your glucose. So for the carbon dioxide that is used and glucose is formed, we use two words. One, carbon dioxide fixation, or we can say carbon dioxide reduction. Okay, these words are also important. So carbon dioxide is fixed, or we can say it is reduced into glucose during the dark reaction. And during this process, this ATP and NADPH are utilized. Okay, so these two things, students, are very important, very easy, and they are every year coming in the examination. Okay, board examination in 1 mark, 2 mark, or 3 mark, or 5 mark questions, right? Now students, next important question, explain the process of digestion in humans. So what happens, students, during the process of digestion in humans? First of all, we will be talking about, okay, your organ wise. So first of all, students, in mouth, the physical digestion will be taking place by the teeth, first thing. Then digestion of starch, that is your carbohydrate, starts chemically here only in the mouth by the salivary amylase enzyme, that will be in the saliva. Okay, after that, students, tongue will be helping in the formation of bolus. Saliva, that is liquid, and tongue both will be helping in the formation of ball like structure that we call as bolus, that will be swallowed by the esophagus by the peristaltic movement into the stomach. Okay, then students, next place is stomach. In stomach, release of HCl happens that kills the germs that are there in the food and activate the pepsin enzyme. Student, next thing, that is pepsin enzyme released that helps in the digestion of protein. So chemical digestion of protein starts in the stomach. Then your release of mucus happens that protects the stomach from the stomach walls from the HCl, because HCl is acid, it can burn the stomach wall. So stomach release mucus also that protect it from that. After that, student, next thing is liver. Liver will be releasing bile juice that helps in the emulsification of fats. It means breaking down fats into small globules and making a layer around it that is going to be then soluble in the water, so that further lipase enzyme can break it into your fatty acids. Okay, then students, we are having pancreas. Pancreas release 3 important enzymes from its pancreatic juice. That is lipase, helps in fat digestion, amylase, pancreatic amylase here, that helps in the carbohydrate digestion, and trypsin, student, that helps in the protein digestion. Okay, after that, students, absorption of digested food will also take place with the help of villi in the small intestine itself. And students, this villi will be the finger like projections that is present in the small intestine, increasing the surface area of the small intestine, right? Last thing, student, that happens is the egestion or like egestion, that will be, first of all, your large intestine will be involved in this process. The rectum part will store the fecal matter, then it will be released later. And students, absorption of water also takes place in the large intestine only. One thing more will be taking place, students, that is assimilation, that is the utilization of food, but that happens all around our body after the absorption of food, right? So students, liver, functioning of liver, pancreas and absorption, this is directly related to the small intestine functioning, because liver, pancreas release their secretions into the small intestine, duodenum part only, where the like further of these particular things will be working on the food. So this is the overall, students, your functioning process that is happening in the digestion of food in humans, and from any part question can comes, and directly this question can also come in the 5 mark. Having part markings, part your like questions in the parts, okay, part mark with part marking question can come, right? Or your 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark question can also be framed, right? But this whole topic is very important. Next thing, students, is your modes of respiration. This diagram, student, is the diagram of your NCERT book. That is extremely important diagram. Every year question is coming again in 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark question, okay, or 5 mark. What happens, students, during the process of respiration? Respiration can be of 3 types, okay. First of all, broadly if we divide, respiration will be of 2 types. So students, one is aerobic respiration where oxygen is utilized, and one is anaerobic respiration where oxygen is not utilized, right? So in this case, student, what happens, first of all, glucose, that is a 6 carbon molecule, right, will be converted into pyruvate, that is a 3 carbon molecule. This happens in the cytoplasm. The process is known as your glycolysis. This will be common. This will take place in every type of living creature. Doesn't matter what type of your like process of respiration is going on in that living creature. After that, student, what happens? A little bit amount of energy also release here, that is 2 ATP around, okay. After this particular process, students, what will happen next? In yeast, in the absence of oxygen, okay, in the absence of oxygen, in yeast, this pyruvate will convert into ethanol, a 2 carbon compound, that is C2H5OH, and students, carbon dioxide and your energy, that is 2 ATPs are going to be formed in case of yeast without oxygen. Next, in the lack of oxygen in muscle cells in our body, that is also anaerobic respiration, lactic acid will form, that's a 3 carbon compound, and energy is released, that is again 2 ATP. After that, students, in the presence of oxygen, it will go into the mitochondria. So mitochondria will be used only in case of when oxygen is utilized. In these 2 cases, mitochondria has no role. This thing will happen in the cytoplasm itself. Third case, when oxygen is utilized, that is the aerobic respiration, your pyruvate will go into the mitochondria, and then carbon dioxide, water and energy releases, and this time, students, energy is 36 ATP. So you can see the difference. In anaerobic respiration, that are going to be these 2, only 2 ATPs are released, but in aerobic respiration, okay, 36 ATPs are released. Each and every point, students, of this particular diagram is extremely important, and as I said, every year it is coming in one or other way. Sometime directly diagram comes with fill in the blanks in the exam, okay. So you can learn it, you can revise it. This diagram is again very important. Next, students, the 4th question, describe the structure and the functioning of the heart. So first of all, students, we know that heart has 4 chambers first of all in humans, right? So students, if you see the heart structure, okay, first of all, we have 2 upper chamber, that are the left atrium and right atrium and the left atrium. After the, students, the downside chamber, right ventricle and the left ventricle. Then, students, your right atrium and right ventricle, they are separated by tricuspid valve, and your left atrium and left ventricle, they are separated by aortic, this one, bicuspid or mitral valve. After that, students, what happens? There are 4 different vessels that are attached to the heart. One is vena cava. Vena cava takes deoxygenated blood, okay. Vena cava takes deoxygenated blood from throughout the body, okay, the utilized blood that is not having oxygen, it takes, okay, this vena cava takes it to the right atrium. From right atrium, it goes into the right ventricle. From right ventricle, students, it crosses the pulmonary valve. This is the pulmonary valve, and then it reach to this particular vessel. This vessel, student, is pulmonary. This vessel is your pulmonary artery. So students, only artery that has deoxygenated blood. You can see from here deoxygenated blood is coming. So this is also deoxygenated. Here is also deoxygenated. Here is also deoxygenated. And this blood is also, students, your deoxygenated. Right? Then this blood is going into the lungs. Lungs will oxygenate the blood. Then from lungs, your oxygenated blood will be coming through the pulmonary vein, the only vein that carries oxygenated blood, into the left atrium. From left atrium it enters into the left ventricle, and then from aortic valve through aorta it will go throughout the body, that is having oxygen. Okay, so students, in this way your heart is functioning, and in this way the structure of the heart is there, right? Upper circuit that is formed between the lungs and your heart, that is your pulmonary circuit. The downside circuit that is formed between the body and the heart, that is your systemic circuit. So there are two circuits in the four chambered heart organisms. That's why we call them the organism, we call them that they have double circulation, one between the heart and the lungs, another between the heart and the body, right? Here this whole part, right side part of the heart, students, right ventricle and right atrium, has deoxygenated blood, fully deoxygenated, and this left side part has fully oxygenated blood, right? This is also very important, student. This question, right, you can consider it as a 5-mark question, but many different 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark question can be framed on this particular topic. After that, so next very important question is your functioning of nephron and its structure. So students, if you see the structure of a nephron, nephron is going to be the unit of excretory system, or you can say excretion process, students, will be done in the kidneys. Ultimately it will be happening, students, in these structures. There are millions of nephrons in kidney, and these structures, if you see, students, they have 3 distinct regions. One, that is this part. This part is known as your renal capsule or your Malpighian body. Then we have this tubular region, and then we have this collecting duct part. So students, if we talk about now all these parts in detail, so first of all, students, if you see this part, Malpighian body or renal capsule, is at 2 parts. One part, this one, that is your network of capillaries, we call it glomerulus, where the filtration of blood will be taking place. After the filtration of blood in glomerulus, all the different content after filtration, they will be moving into this particular capsule, that is known as your Bowman's capsule. In the glomerulus, blood will be coming from afferent arteriole, and after filtration from the glomerulus, blood will be moving away from your afferent arteriole. Okay, spelling is different. In this case we have A, in this case we have E. After that, students, when the filtrate, after the filtration of blood, whatever the filtrate that is there enters into the Bowman's capsule, it will travel through these particular tubular region, where we have PCT, proximal convoluted tubule, and your DCT, distal convoluted tubule, and a long loop that we call as your loop of Henle. In this particular tubular region, students, 2 important things will happen. One is selective reabsorption and secretion. What is this one? Selective reabsorption, students. What are the good materials, okay, that have been transferred to the Bowman's capsule? They are going to be reabsorbed, okay, and if any bad material is still in the body, okay, it will be secreted into these tubular region, right? And ultimately, students, and here loop of Henle will be helping in the H2O and ionic balance, electrolyte balance. And in this way, students, the filtrate will be moving all the way from this tubular region. Selective reabsorption of good material, selective secretion of bad materials will keeps on going. Okay, electrolyte balance will be keeps on maintaining by your loop of Henle, and ultimately your urine is created that will be, students, poured out into this collecting duct. This collecting duct will take this urine to the your ureters, and ureters will carry it to the urinary bladder, then out of the body from the urethra. During this process, students, we talk about in collecting duct, there is a hormone ADH that is released by pituitary gland. It will be helping students in the absorption of H2O, right? So water is absorbed, okay, lots of water will not be wasted in the urine, lots of water will be absorbed by the ADH hormone. If ADH hormone is not good in our body, in good in amount in our body, then a problem happens that we call as your diabetes insipidus, where a person goes back and again for urination. So student, these 5 questions are very important questions. Okay, I have taken them in a 5-mark question manner, but many different 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark question can be framed on these particular questions, right? So students, stay tuned. Like this only, very important questions we will be coming with, like 5-mark question. Okay, your in the similar way for the other chapters also. Stay tuned with us. Okay, till then, take care, have a very nice day. Bye bye everybody.